Okay, guys, it's a little tricky to see you. It's quite bright up here. Who was in the workshop yesterday? So I could just kind of get a ratio. So for some of you, this is a little bit of a review, but I did add some additional slides for you. As Jake said, my name is Jesse Maitland. Been at Bethel since the beginning of time. I was actually born and raised in Reading. Been attending Bethel since about the age of 4. Fun fact, well, actually, maybe I won't share that one. Well, some things are better left unsaid, you know. But let's just say we left another previous church and then came to Bethel at the age of 4, and felt really called to the ministry of Bethel, and quickly really felt invested in the house and the message and the ministry of it. Spent about 4 years doing the ministry school there, and then actually first started in production in like my 7th grade, so junior high. Anybody heard of an access station? You know what a cable access station is? I know there's a few of you that do know, but way back in the day, we used to have this thing where the community could actually come and basically produce anything they wanted. It would air on cable, and that was pre-YouTube, you know. But that's actually where I got started. I got started there. Some awesome guys from my church were actually teaching in this workshop, and it's what actually got me plugged into the media ministry at Bethel. Since then, I actually started traveling, doing conferences at the age of 17, and goodness, I was doing the math for this, and I realized I have done something around 150 events for Bethel, about another 100 in concert films with just different ministries, music labels, things like that, and some pretty cool corporate jobs as well. So been doing lots of cool things. I feel really humbled by it all, and it's really weird to stand up here and talk about yourself, right? But it's important to know kind of the journey that we all go on, and I'll unpack a little bit of it for you. So in total, I've actually been on the Bethel production team for about 20 years, give or take. And some people get shocked by that, but a little bit of timeline for you. Jesus Culture, right? The ministry Jesus Culture. They actually came out of Bethel, and that's where a lot of our early media stuff came from. But that all came from when Bill Johnson came to Bethel in '98. Jesus Culture was established just a couple years later. And then a few years after, Bethel TV was started. And then 2010, Bethel Music was actually established as a label itself. So you can see there's actually been quite a bit of transition. Each one of those marks a significant time, not just in the message of the house, but in the media ministry and how we've evolved and changed over the years. Cool. So, real quick, I do want to show you a quick video. The guys in the workshop already know about this one, but this is a really good illustration of kind of where most of us kind of come from and then where we've gone. It kind of helps illustrate what we're doing. So, let's pray that this YouTube video plays. So just take a mental note of just how you feel, kind of the shots, the directing, the timing, things like that.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days of God. Oh, I love your voice.
All right, I think that's pretty good. Normally in the workshop, I'd ask for feedback, but we can't really do that right now. But you'll notice this is actually a production done by TBN. This is with the Bethel Band, so we actually didn't do this. But some things you'll notice, it's technically very good, right? It's a good coverage. It's pretty typical broadcast. I do want to show you, though, for the sake of time, we'll jump right into it. Here's something we did just recently, this last worship school. Has anyone heard of the worship ministry, Bethel Music's worship school they do every summer? Yeah? Anyone been there, actually? No? Okay. It's really powerful. It's probably one of my favorite events. Here's something to compare to. Thanks, guys. Anyway, so a little different, right? It's a little bit different. Quickly, just a couple things. What's something you noticed that was really different? There's a lot, right? There's a lot of things different. I can't even hear it all, but honestly, it's there was nothing wrong with what the other guys did, but definitely the thing I want to highlight is how different you feel watching it. For me, when I kind of summarize what happened, you know, the video on the left, I felt like I'm sitting there thinking, man, I wish I was there, right? And then when I watch our production, I'm definitely thinking, man, I feel like I'm in the room. It's almost as if I'm there with them. And you get this invitation, you feel the invitation to be a participant. And for me, that's the ultimate compliment. Our whole goal is to create an immersive experience for our viewers. That's our passion, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about how we actually get there. This is a process that's taken over 20 years, you know. I've been there from day one, worked with lots of people. Lots of people have sewn into their piece of this puzzle, and we've kind of developed this thing together. How am I doing with my mic? Am I dropping it? I'm good? Okay. All right. All right, so let's talk about our creative motivation. So most of you probably haven't heard of this, but you know, well, actually, our first motivation, right, is what we just talked about. We want to be worshipers first. I think one of the greatest things I've been hearing in this conference that really inspires me is I have a room here full of people who are dedicated to personal mastery, becoming better at not just their craft, but their spiritual journey. And for me, that really inspires me. I feel like I'm in light company, right? So I just want to honor that about you guys. Good job for being here and taking it serious. What an honor it is to serve not just our local body, but our community and our leaders. So, Cinema Verite, right? Has anyone heard us talk about this before? Not counting the workshop people. Ironically, we did this little investigation. We're trying to learn about what is it how do we define what our Bethel experience is as a production team? We did a little research, and ironically, we found a term. Cinema Verite is actually the style that we feel best communicates the energy and emotion of what happens at Bethel. It starts from an inspiration of Cinema Verite, a French style of shooting that means to unveil the truth. And I thought that's really cool. It's like it literally means to unveil the truth. And I think one of the things that you feel in our productions is when the Holy Spirit comes, like we can feel it. And there's this exchange where we literally hand the service back from our eyes, from our experience, and we say, here, we're going to give it back to the room, and we're going to surrender this to his agenda. Does that make sense with you guys? And it's just a beautiful thing, and I think that really is kind of what's being illustrated here with unveiling the truth. Learning when to take a step back, honor what God's doing, and just kind of get out of the way, right? There we go. We want people to feel like they're in the room with us, experience the moment as part of the worship experience. We communicate this with constant movement and a basic deviation from standard broadcast. So we're still using broadcast techniques. I don't know if you guys have, you can see that they're still there, and we're definitely building on it, but we're definitely breaking the rules. Something that you'll hear us say a lot is energy in the shot or loose head. It's actually not shaky cam, and if you call it shaky cam, we'll be offended, right? So don't call it shaky cam. It's actually much more motivated. Our style movements are stylistic but motivated, and we respond dynamically to what is happening in the room. We partner with where the Spirit is moving. I think one of my favorite, I shared in the class yesterday, one of my favorite things is when I feel like I'm chasing where God is moving on stage, right? It's almost like he's leading where we're going. Sometimes we throw the rules out and we just follow that because that's the right call, right? I mean, I think anyone would agree chasing God is the right choice, right? All right, so real quick, some history. I want to show you where we started and where we've kind of evolved to. This is, I believe this is in 2008. This is some of the oldest images I could find. You can see, does anyone remember Singular before AT&T bought it? More bars in more places, right? I used to take those lights and I would stagger them so the bars would kind of go up and just kind of make a signal, a little cell phone signal. I thought it was funny. I think I'm funny, so. Okay, here's another set. Again, we didn't have much stuff. Here's a picture of an early concert film that we were filming for, where we used only tungsten lighting, no color, except for this brand new projector screen that we put on the back wall. And we chopped a couple trees down off the property and literally just lit them up. I mean, that's it. We just lit them up. And that was it. It was actually quite beautiful. It worked really well. It filled a lot of space. But that was cheap, you know? It's a really, really cheap way to do it. Here's those same projectors. We just made a grid, so it kind of felt like a window looking outside. Most of us get rid of the windows, right? And here we are trying to create a fake window. Those lights in the background you see there, those are custom-made light towers that are different heights. And we bought DJ pars off of Amazon. And we bought the higher wattage lamps so that we could actually dim them to get them that nice orange glowy color. And that was it. That's what we started with. That was our first set design for a normal service. Here's where we removed the wall. We were going for like a staggered truss, trying to look really big and massive. Here's another one with the center screen. And obviously, here's where things got really big. Really beautiful. This set design was probably one of the cooler ones that we've had. This was at our, I believe this was at our local convention center. Our stage wouldn't fit this, but this is definitely really beautiful. At the time of this set, I believe it was at the age of the LED product. It was brand new. I think it was the largest LED lid for a while, and that was really. It was really a big deal. It took 2 days to rig it. It was really crazy. Really awesome experience. Real quick, has anyone actually seen the box set or the 360 box set? Got a couple hands. This was really cool. I'm going to bring this up because COVID, as challenging as COVID was for us, one of the amazing things that COVID did for us was it really challenged us to enter a different level of thinking. We could either retreat and pull back, or we could lean in and see how we could be inspired, right? And so, I mean, I know our team, we sat there, in lockdown. There's a small group of us that were, hanging out together, and we thought to ourselves, this is an opportunity to do something we've never done before. And we're like, let's dream and see what we could do. And obviously, we couldn't spend any money. But what we did do was we were like, let's utilize what we have in a different way. And so collectively, we had this thought of, well, what if we built a 360, what if we turned our stage into a set, and instead of that front wall where you normally talk to your audience, we'll just put a wall there. And we're like, that'd be cool. And then we thought, what if we put a lid on, wishing we had more LED, right? And we actually took the LED off of our iMac. We took it down so that we could build this little box set. And we used the leftover panels along the top to act as light fixtures to light up this canvas material. And that's actually how we kind of built the set. So has anyone seen any footage from this? It was really wild. I do want to show this as a clip real quick because I think it was really cool with what we did. So you're looking at a stationary camera. I wanted to show you guys how the camera guys were moving, the movement. It's almost like they're dancing, right? And then obviously the program is in the lower left.
Chains are falling now. Though I walk through the midst of my troubles, you will fill your purpose in me. I lift my head from the dirt to see your eyes. I feel a peace in the wind to my surprise. Though I walk through the midst of my troubles.
So what are the big challenges? What you'll notice, we're trying to film talent in a 360 view and not film all the camera guys in the shot, you know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to cross-shoot each other. And you'll notice how in the cut, how it kind of bounces between 3 operators. And so what's happening here on a director point of view, nobody is getting instruction. They are all leading each other using their peripheral vision, right? So there is no instruction happening. Literally taking shots and trying to do the best we can. But with a set like this, it was just completely different. I'm trying to just get to a chorus. Awesome, guys. And that was the birth of what we call whip pans, which is whip pans. And that's actually in-camera editing. So instead of the camera guy, or instead of the director calling shots, we actually started doing what we call whip pans, where you literally whip your camera, land it to the next subject. And, you know, I think that's what kind of blew it up. Like, people looked at the set, like, wow, it's amazing. And then 2, they were like, wow, these camera guys are literally doing something we haven't seen before. I have some mixed feelings about it. I think we went a little overboard on it, but that is where it came from, so.
We'll continue on with the training in one moment, but first, I want to tell you more about our Churchfront Live conference. The video you're watching right now was captured at a previous Churchfront Live event. Churchfront Live is a 2-day conference specifically for worship and production leaders. Go to churchfrontlive.com to learn more about when and where the next event is happening. And you can register your team today. The sooner, the better you can register to take advantage of the early bird discounts. So go to churchfrontlive.com to learn more and register, and let's continue on with the training.
Yeah, so next thing, I am gonna show you a little bit of the directing. This is actually my voice, this is me directing. And this is a normal Sunday. I promise I'm going to speed up here in a minute. The videos just kind of lay a good foundation for what we're talking about. Jake, where's Jake? Is he here? It's okay, I don't need him, it's fine. All right, so here we are. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
3 and 3 is live.
Hold on for it, and 7.
So I told the guys yesterday, this worship set has like 3 paid operators on it, and we have the rest are volunteers.
And 1 is live. Going to 6 and 6. Probably not the right thing. Ready 4.
Good on 4.
4 is live.
We're good now, 7.
Try to make it last on 4.
Apparently I picked a troubleshooting spot.
I thought you were going to take it to the keys. I didn't realize. Sorry. Ready? 5, 5. 1, 1. 3. Whoops, 4's live. And 3, 3. 5, 5 is live.
Call that fat fingers.
Sorry, man. You're live. 7, 7. Ready on 4. And
It's a crowd
4.
shot. You can't see it, but it's a crowd shot.
Ready? 3, 3. 6, 6. And 2, 2. Ready? 1. And 1. 5. 5 is live. Ready on 6. 6. Ready on 2. 2. Ready 4. And 4 is live. 7. 7. Ready on 6. 6. Ready 3. 3. 1. 1.
All right, this is a slow build, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. But anyway, so this is actually just a few paid operators. I don't know if you guys know, most of our video team is actually paid. That is a pretty big difference for us. We actually, during COVID, we got up to 6 simultaneous live streams, just trying to support all of the ministries that happen. That was pretty wild. We were really tired at those times. As you can imagine, right? And, we've learned, having paid operators allows us to keep our attention, on this kind of thing. So we're able to serve at a higher level. A lot of people think being paid means you don't have to, some people think it's like cheating, like you're being discredited. We've actually found that it does allow our people to worship more. We're not distracted by the finances, right? So that's kind of a big deal for us. It hasn't been until recently that we've actually started developing volunteers into our environment. And so on a typical Sunday, we have usually two volunteers that we bring in. And I think my volunteer list is about 8 people that I have in rotation. And actually, Luke, you were talking about like building a team, I believe it was. I thought that was really good advice. It's not something we do super well, but my 2 cents on it is we actually, we don't treat our volunteers any differently than our employees. And I think it actually communicates a sense of honor that what they're doing matters, and we expect them just to perform at the same level. And honestly, they show up that way. I know a lot of you struggle with having volunteers, show up, confirming that they're going to be there, all that kind of stuff. In our experience, though, it's an honor to serve, and so we're going to expect you to show up on time and give 100%, just like the rest of us, right? Jesse's 2 cents. Okay. Stop. All right, so real quick, resources follow vision. This is something I'm really passionate about. A lot of you might think, well, Jesse, it's really easy to make an amazing production when you have all these resources, right? And the truth is, in my opinion, resources always follow vision. You'll never have the resources to accomplish the dreams in your heart until you have the vision. Anyway, so when you're approaching leadership, the real deal is you're never gonna have finances until 1, you have vision for it, and 2, when you can show leadership how that's gonna partner or sow into their ministry, right? When they can see how this piece of gear is gonna help them accomplish the vision they have set, how you're partnering with them to accomplish it, it's amazing what resources open up to you. When someone gives a large sum of money, they don't freely give it away, right? They're gonna invest into you or good soil, right? They're looking for people with good soil, good hearts, people who have vision. They're gonna sow and invest into that, right? So think about it that way. So if you're feeling discouraged, like, shoot, I don't have these resources, remember, don't allow lack of resources to make you think small when we serve a big God, right? We get to partner with God, the Creator, And, what a privilege, right? What a privilege for us. So one of the things I think that makes Bethel production probably different than most is actually, worship is at the core of our culture. And I'm hearing a lot of people talk about culture today, which honestly makes me very excited because, what is culture? How do you know you have good culture? It's when it functions without you, right? You don't have to be there and it still sustains. And so one of the amazing things is our team, I think we've successfully, we ferociously protect this intimacy that we have where we worship while we work, right? For us, that looks like our camera is like our guitar, right? There is no difference for us. It's amazing to me how I watch people consistently call each other to a higher standard because they so value this offering that we give to the Lord. We really have a high value in our culture for excellence, and excellence is not perfection, but it is bringing our best offering to the Lord. And so I know we all hear that, right? We hear our treasures in heaven, or those fun little things, but there is a tangible reward. And I think when we're shifting as leaders, we're shifting cultures in our team. But in my case, and I believe this is for you too, we have the potential to shift culture as well. And so I'm going to talk about that in here in a minute. But let's go on to the next thing. So I want to talk to you about some things. Let's not do that. Some of the things that we do really well: consistent movement in our camera work, whip pans, right? Some things we do sometimes. Pop zooms, focus pulls. Is any of this stuff resonating? Do you guys know what these things are? Parallaxing, we do reveals, linking shots. Dutch is not something we really do. I don't know why that's on there. And then, I'm not sure those are supposed to be on there, but anyway. Also, one of the big things that makes our cinematic experience look as good as it does is that we shoot in 23:9:8 or 24 frames. This is a really big deal for us. Most of what we're doing doesn't really look good unless it is in 24. If you're in 29 and you want to have a cinematic experience, I would say you really just can't do it. You just can't do it until you're in 24. I'm sorry. That's a bummer. But anyway, so all of these concepts, though, and I think the culture that we carry is really the driving force behind what we're actually calling cinema broadcast, right? Where we're taking tradition, we're taking film techniques, and we're marrying them with motivation, right? And motivation is we're not doing things to feed anybody's ego. We're building upon where God is moving and the vision of the house, right? So we're making sure we're making motivated decisions in every piece of gear that we buy, every new risk that we take, every creative decision. And we want to make sure that we're doing it with each other and with the community. We want to grow together. And so we've had 20 years of just refining these things and learning and growing. My slides are a little goofy here. I wanted to share a couple things on how am I doing on time? I think am I okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Losing my voice here. All right, so we're going to go on Jesse's soapbox for a second. Here's a couple things that I've learned, and these are things I really care a lot about. But one of the things I've learned in my experience is I get a lot of feedback, right? I get a lot of feedback from superiors, peers, people's opinions that I really respect. And honestly, they've been really great. Great feedback, good insight. And this might be a little bit of a challenge for you, but I found myself a little bit lost and not really feeling effective, right? So this is Jesse's wisdom. I found myself not being able to lead because I was literally trying to fit a mold or just make everybody else happy. And it wasn't until I trusted myself enough to lead by my own conviction, right? To know to make decisions and to lead based on what I knew was right. I think that's a big deal, right? A lot of us have a lot of people talking to us and giving feedback, And I think it's important to know who we are, right? First and foremost, we're God's son, children. Secondly, he's made us, he's called us to be leaders in this environment. We're not just service ministries, right? I consider us actual ministries. Like we are a form of worship ministry. And I think with that comes an authority that we get to lead with conviction and carry authority. And I think a lot of us, it's easy to listen to all the external voices, but until we believe who we are, we can't lead by conviction. Does that make sense? It's not super eloquent, but I'm getting there. All right. One of the things too is like one of the things I train my team is that we are all leaders. We aren't just a service department, right? But we are an actual ministry. That whole thing trickles down. And I think probably one of the most humbling things for me is we're not just serving an online audience, we're also serving the people in the room. And it's amazing to me how many testimonies I get where people are in worship and they look up and they watch what we're doing. And because we're in the flow, right? We're in the flow. We're in the pursuit of the best. Our hearts are aligned. We're serving with our full heart. And people will say, I was having worship. I was struggling to enter in. But I looked up and suddenly I had my breakthrough. Like I met Jesus because of whatever shot that you had. To me, that's amazing. It's like that's the ultimate success, right? We talk about distractions, right? Good production is not a distraction. And I know a lot of people have different opinions on this, but you look at high levels of production, it is not a distraction when it's well executed. Production done right is invisible. I don't know if any of you, have any of you ever thought about it in that context? Anyway, moving on. Another thing, how many of you guys have ever said, we have tech gremlins? Right? Lots of problems? I mean, I think we all have. Like, we've definitely been there. And I'm going to challenge you on something here. It's, firstly, I would say, don't ever spiritualize your lack of preparedness, right? Let's just own it. If we're not showing up ready, just own it, But with that, I will say this. There's some grace here. As leaders, we are people who are pastoring technology, right? We are definitely pastoring technology. And, we have this opportunity to take spiritual authority, right? Not just in our environment, but of our stage. And so sometimes I like to replace some of the church language with stage terminology, right? But this is our stage, right? This is our place of gifting. This is our place of authority. And when we decide to take an authority in this space, we become intercessors, right? We're called to do this. We're pastoring our technology. Suddenly, when we have this attitude or this posture change as worshipers who are taking authority of our sphere of influence, if you want to say it that way, it's amazing how distractions seem to fall away. The tech gremlins do not appear anymore, right? It's amazing. Does anyone relate to this? I think one of my fondest memories as a teenager was striking the stage almost every service. And I remember I would put on worship music. I'd come in extra early, and I would literally just have my worship time as I would patch cables and do all those things. And for me, I would. No one asked me to do that, but I took it serious, and I knew that if I showed up with the right heart and prepared, that my sound check would go well, that my worship leaders would be served well, and I would watch how the measured increase would happen in worship because I was faithful to the calling God had for me while doing something simple as patching cables, right? Little thing for you there. So owning your stage, right? So just as we're pastoring technology, we're also pastoring influence. And this is the next level for me. This is probably one of the biggest humbling things for me, and that is we're pastoring influence. And one of the impacts that we have as a media team is that we're creating culture for our teams, but oftentimes we're creating culture up here. And we get the privilege to see people in their best and their worst, right? Sometimes speakers, they're having a bad day. They may not be performing their best or saying their best. And it's amazing how when we take that ownership up here, we're helping protect and nurture and cover them, right? Does that make sense? You guys following what I'm saying? Okay, good. And we're all human, right? We all have bad days. But what an honor to be able to protect and serve on that level. You know, it's very personal. And so not only are we protecting technology or pastoring technology, but we're also helping pastor the stage. We're setting a precedence for the Lord to move how he wants to. And sometimes we're the ones holding the line, right? Just some thoughts from Jesse. So here's my team, guys. This is a real quick glimpse of my team. This is our paid staff. I don't have enough room to show all my volunteers. A typical Sunday for us looks like a whole bunch of positions. Floor manager, kind of a service director person, front of house audio, monitor engineer. We kind of have a lighting and Resolume media server person. It's kind of all wrapped in one. Of course, we have a lyrics person. We have a worship mix studio, and we also have a broadcast studio, which is kind of confusing. They're sort of like a broadcast audio ingest position. And then we have a dedicated live streaming tech who also moderates chat. And then we also have a director who also TDs, which is also kind of unusual for a lot of people. And we have about 7 paid staff on our video team, and we typically have about 2 volunteers. Skipping over that. All right, so here's a couple pictures of our studio. The upper half shows our broadcast studio. Left, you can see the panel. On the right, you can see sort of all our displays. And on the bottom, you can see the 2 of the audio stations. The broadcast audio is on the right. Our front of house position is in the bottom center. Here's a quick picture of our cameras. We have on the left, that's a Ursa broadcast. It's probably one of the only ones we have left. And that's on a pedestal. It's a Vinton Hawk PED. Does anyone know what that is? It's a studio piece of equipment. We buy all that stuff used because it's very expensive. In the center is our jib, and on the right is a Dana dolly. Anyone hear of a Dana dolly? This is probably one of the coolest things you can get in your church that has a big, big movement or a big look, and it's not that expensive. So compared to a lot of expensive things, it's pretty awesome. Here's a quick shot of our Komodo. We have 5 Komodos now, so we've actually replaced most of our Blackmagic stuff with red Komodos. Here's a picture of our jib, and up in the ceiling you can see a cable cam. And then also on big events, we'll sometimes rent in the rhythm track. Has anyone seen the track in action? You have? Okay. I do have, I hope it works. Some of my slides got messed up. All right, well, oh, here we go. All right, so there's no audio on this one, but we just let it play. So this is the basically a compilation of both the rhythm track, which that's what you see right there. That's one of the concert films we shot last summer. And then that's the rhythm track on the ground. which obviously is massive. This is another church right now. This is all mixed up. But as you can see, it's pretty big shots, pretty massive movements. These things are a little expensive, and we do rent them in, but that is how we, a lot of people ask us about these things. But yeah, these are Defy products. So if anyone wants a Defy product. Jake, you got a connection with Defy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. All right, so next thing, so there's the cadence, that's the cable cam. Real quick, I'm over on my time. Are we okay?
Dude, we're good. We're
All
probably
right.
hungry, but
Yeah, I'll wrap it up here.
sweet.
All this stuff is available on our website, bethelproduction.com. If you didn't know, we have quite a bit of resources on there. We have our cameras listed. We have our lenses listed. We also have our Blackmagic switchers. We have a lot of them because we have a lot of productions. But I think that's pretty much it. I'm good to be done, unless, Jake, you want me to do anything else.
Can you juggle?
I can, actually. I can do that. I can absolutely do that.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's give him a hand. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up button and share it with your friends in worship ministry if you found it helpful. I'm sure they're going to find it helpful as well. And don't forget to check out churchfrontlive.com, where you can learn more about our 2-day conference for worship and production leaders, and you can register your team today.